Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Iron Fist. This is the, what year did this come out? Man, 2017, 2018. It is two seasons, originally a Netflix series when Marvel had a bunch of different Netflix shows about some of their heroes. Punisher, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, making up the Defenders. And, well, Punisher wasn't part of that, but you know what I mean. He was there. He had a series. Iron Fist stars Finn Jones. Yeah, Finn Jones. He is, if you don't already know, he is a guy who, as a kid, supposedly died in a plane crash with his parents. They're wealthy. They run a major corporation in the United States, and the plane crashed. And where we pick up in this story at the very beginning is Danny. He looks homeless. He looks disheveled, dirty, barefoot, carrying a backpack, but has an old model iPod, or a type of iPod. They call it an iPod, but it doesn't really look like that, technically. I don't know. Either way, Danny shows up at his parents' old business in New York City, and nobody recognizes him, of course, because he's supposed to be dead. Well, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but I'm just giving you a setup. It makes for an interesting story. It does make for an interesting story. Now, if you know all about these Marvel shows, Iron Fist is the most heavily maligned of all of them, mainly because if you know who Iron Fist is, the show really didn't live up to what people were expecting. Iron Fist is a kung fu type of character. He is, yeah, there's some kung fu in this, there's some fighting, there's some action. I just watched a rewatch. I watched the series originally when it came out, but I just rewatched just the first episode, and I can see the potential in it, but it runs a little slow. It runs a little bit more, hey, we're trying to be adults here. We're not just trying to have some kung fu fights for the entire time. That might have been their first mistake. Yeah. You want to have, this is during the golden age of television when, yeah, you could have a show just about anything as long as you made it really compelling and the characters interesting and the situations unexpected. Oh, a chemistry teacher who becomes a meth dealer? Sure, yeah, let's do that. You know, that's Breaking Bad. That's something that's he's a guy dying of cancer, but in desperation he starts making the perfect meth, and guess what? Becomes a bad guy for the most part. He pretty much a selfish man. Now that's a compelling story to tell, even if the hero is not too much of a hero. In this, we have a guy who is kind of now a fish out of water. He's just returned to the city, and he has no connections. His family is gone. The business has been handed over to his father's business partner, who has just also passed away. And the kids are running. The kids he grew up with are now adults. They're running this huge mega corporation. They don't believe he's Danny Rand. They don't believe he's back from the dead somehow. And he gets turned away at every moment. And what makes him a little less sympathetic is the fact that he kind of gets stalkery. He kind of invades their home, basically breaks into their office, finds them in all sorts of situations. Oh yeah, let me just take your car when the valet drops it off, and then force you to have a conversation with me. And then every once in a while, he does have these sort of seizure-like flashbacks, which makes him seem a little unstable. You can understand where some people might not take your word for it when you just say, hey, I'm the son of a billionaire probably, and I'm back from the dead. Oh, by the way, yeah, it's coincidental that I show up at the time when your business is booming, and some people would think that maybe he's trying to fake something in order to get money out of people. Or if he's real, then he really would be able to take control of the company. So that's where he kind of creates enemies in his former friends. pseudo friends. So, yeah, what we get here is one episode that, of course, the first episode is always going to be something that's going to establish the characters and the world and the things that are going on in it. He meets Colleen Wing, who is also a prominent Marvel character. She is part of the Daughters of the Dragon. She is, along with Misty Knight, who we've met in other shows, like, was it Luke Cage? And, Luke Cage, yeah. These things, and Defenders and everything else. There's a rich history with all these characters. But if you don't really do the kung fu, and he's certainly not going to be putting on the yellow and green leotards, by the way. I tried to use a color scheme that was yellow, but it looks green, so it works. Yeah. It's not that big solid green that I had yesterday, but yeah. So, I think one of the most frustrating parts of this is that, for a character that's born in the Marvel Universe around 1974 or so, in the middle of the kung fu craze, like, there was Marvel put out magazines back in that day that featured Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee just kicking butt. A lot of these books were also not very censored. They're pretty violent. Iron Fist premiered in that, fighting alongside, I think he might have even fought alongside Bruce Lee. I have a few copies. Even Roger Moore, James Bond showed up in one or more of them. Yeah, it's a kind of a strange thing. And the Daughters of the Dragon also showed up in those comics. So there was a whole lot of great kung fu action comics put out at the time, which rose Danny Rand, Iron Fist, to prominence, and it made sense to have him as one of the new street-level heroes on Netflix originally when it premiered, right alongside Luke Cage, the Heroes for Hire. But it becomes a show about corporate espionage, about, I don't know, it doesn't click. It does pick up here and there, but I understand people's argument as to why it just really didn't connect with a whole lot of people. I think if they do it again, and I have a feeling they're going to be rolling in some of these Netflix characters, obviously like Daredevil and Kingpin and Punisher, and the cast of those shows, whether Colleen and Misty and Luke and Danny are going to be making an appearance with the same actors. Don't know yet. But this is going to be the hardest sell, getting an Iron Fist that, after just barely grinding out an interesting story in this series, 2 seasons worth, people are going to be very hesitant to buy into it, unless he's right from the bat just starts kicking butt. And yeah, it's good to have a little mystery and not, sell everything off in the very first episode and just really go gangbusters, but yet you need something. There is a bit of a hook as we get to the end, a little bit of revelation as to how and where he ended up. Yes, there is a mystical angle to this. It is the mystical world of Kunlun, however you say it, where Danny learned Kung Fu and everything else, where he became the Iron Fist. Yeah, they're not showing off the Iron Fist in the first episode. I'm just warning you. If you really want to understand the Defenders, which we watched a few weeks ago, and how all these stories connect together, you'd have to probably watch this, but you may or may not have to pay attention to most of it and just sort of put it on in the background and go, oh, cool, there's an action sequence now. And it's not that anybody in this is a bad actor or anything else. It's just so quiet. It's so... I understand the desire to make it serious adult drama, as the other ones are too, but for somebody called the Iron Fist, you should be using the Iron Fist a little bit. I'm kind of thinking, I wonder if Danny's ever knocked the Hulk on his butt. You'd think he wouldn't be able to, but the Iron Fist is pretty impressive. There are some pretty great Iron Fist comics, so just so you know, go to your local comic shop. I always want to encourage this. go to your local comic shop and pick up some Iron Fist comics. The ones written by Matt Fraction are some of my favorites. It's Free Comic Book Day coming up the first Saturday in May, so highly recommend checking that out in your local area. Just search freecomicbookday.com or just search local comic shops in your area, and you might find some free stuff available and maybe discounts, and get that Iron Fist comic for free, and you get to see what this show probably should have been. I can't say it's bad. I just can't say it's great. And that's unfortunate for considering that they have a wealth to pull from. So, anyway, let's pick tomorrow's episode. 72. Let's see, 72. Oh. All right, we got an old classic short from 1939. We're going to be watching Donald's Cousin Gus. Yeah, it's a Donald Duck short. Donald's Cousin Gus from 1939 is what we're watching next in the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.